Welcome to another episode of OutKast Radio. I am your host, Chris O'Toole, with my lovely producer, Gwen, and we have a special guest, Jen Schaffer. We're going to talk about can't talk, true crime tonight. And I am so lucky for her to be on because a lot of people have been asking about her and want to hear more. So she is going to be on tonight. Thank you for coming on, Jen. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having me. Good to see you, Chris.
Yeah, so we were having a great conversation backstage, and why don't we just go ahead and just do kind of like a little recap so we can tell the audience what we're talking about because I mean it was so good and it was really interesting, especially about murder crime, true crime in Texas, especially in Houston right now with several bodies being found in the bayou. So why don't you kind of give us a little scoop on that?
The Bayou City. The Bayou City's got something quite dark and sinister going on. As of the past month, the Houston Police Department has pulled 8 bodies from our bayous. Within the past year, we are now up to 18. 26. Oh, I'm sorry, 26 this
Oh
year.
wow,
So
wow,
seriously, you tune out for just a second to do something, you get back to it, and there's more, and it's
oh
and
yeah.
it's just compiling, and as of right now, HPD says that there's no active serial killer, that these crimes, if they are even crimes, are not connected, but I don't know. A lot of spidey senses out there are buzzing with the fact that there might be something really bad going on. And there might be a serial killer, there might be multiple serial killers, or there is someone targeting
Got a little hang up there, Slack. She's gonna come back.
ah,
There you are.
they don't want this getting out.
I know,
But
right?
and I haven't had the time to really dig into it enough.
Right.
The two, and we talked about it, the two victims that I really know about or I've read anything in detail about. The one is the young man, 20s, 30s. Either his sister or his cousin posted on Facebook. This guy is autistic. His body was recovered from a White Oak Bayou, I believe.
Yes, yes. White Oak Bayou.
They discovered him there. He had been back.
We have some technical difficulties.
Is young, sweet, cute
Hmm.
student at my alma mater, the University of Houston. Go Cougs! We're having a really good football year. We always have a good basketball year.
Right.
But Jade McKinnis was found near campus in a bayou near campus. She's 20 years old, so she went to a little party or a nightclub or something near campus. She walked home from there alone, that's I have young 20-year-old and a 22-year-old that would frighten me just in and of itself. Them walking home alone at the dark off Scott Street, which is known to be a dangerous street. But she popped into a gas station, bought some snacks. They have her on video. She seemed fine. She was not stumbling. She did not seem intoxicated. She walked back to her place towards campus, and she disappeared. And then later they discovered her body in a bayou.
Yeah, and then what we talked about previously, backstage is, it seems like there was a good chance that she knew her murder, like the victim
Possibly.
knew her
It's just,
murderer.
I feel like if they solve this case, which, and Chris, you remember this because you were in Baytown. I think a couple Christmases ago, a young Sterling High School student was found in a park who was shot, and I don't know if they ever solved her death, and I
Janaea
can't remember.
Smith.
Yes,
Supposedly they did, but I didn't hear anything on the news about it.
they
I
didn't follow
researched
up
it. No,
anything.
no. A law officer told me that that the case has been solved, and that was talking to him on another case, but he never really got into the specifics. He just said that the case was solved. But at the
Hmm.
same time, there's still red flags. So I don't know.
And I
I
just feel
just
like,
think
if they could go after this Jade McKenna's case, if they could solve hers, maybe that could lead to solving some of the other crimes. I feel like that's the one with the most to go on, just considering, she wasn't homeless. She's a student. She's a young woman. She's attractive. She's all these things, right?
right.
She's smart. She had her future ahead of her. I feel like that's just one where they could maybe get more intel. They can build a stronger victimology with her. They could, discover more. So if
Right.
they could solve that, then maybe they can solve some of the other cases.
Because if you kind of look at where like the bayous are, especially like Buffalo Bayou, there's literally a club like suspended right over Buffalo Bayou.
Yeah.
You just go down, and I think that's where that crypt is, like underneath it. So supposedly a family crypt. But all of that there, anybody can just walk down Main Street. You know what I'm saying, and then walk close and then fall into the bayou. Where some of these people declared homeless that they found in the bayou. Were they living off the waves? Was it did they OD and just rolled in the bayou? These are like
It
things.
just seems, here's the thing. And yes, some of them could be unrelated to any sort of foul play. They could have
Right.
been intoxicated. They could have been on something. They could have not known how to swim and fell into the water and drowned. I think, but we're talking 20. Thank you. Yes. I've got my producer / partner back there chiming in.
Hey, Amy, how's it going?
They said, "Hey, Amy." So, but we have a lot of people. That's a lot of people. And
No, you're right.
I'm not buying the apathy that's given out because they're homeless either. Because even if they're, there could be a possible serial killer, or we talked about maybe groups of people, something going on where they're targeting the homeless. That's not cool. We should protect all of our citizens. And I get downtown sketchy. I was in the cast unit for, for Harris County, and that's a part of our community supervision. So I walked that path, and it was it's sketch, and the people can be sketch.
Oh yeah.
But, it still just doesn't. You've got to treat every single case with, compassion. You got to give them dignity, and you need to give the families some closure. So.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I just think it's a coincidence that if you really look at it, like it was like the 4 or 5 years, well, it's been over 100 and something bodies altogether. Is that right, or something around there?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I can't even give you. It's this number that seems like it's like an amoeba. It's like it just keeps growing, and once you think you have a number, you're gonna hear the click clock of my little dog down here. But you're, that number just keeps growing, and I hear a new number every day. And I blink, and like I said, I was like, oh, I think we're at like 18. No, we're at 26.
Right.
And so just keeping up with it, and I understand. I really do have some empathy with our police force and our homicide investigative forces that are out there trying to get these things done. Their resources are limited. They've got, they don't have as much, man and woman power as they need. I get that. But at the same time, our mayor, he needs to say, like, hey, all I'm hearing is it's not a serial killer. It's not connected. It's not this. It's not that. Well, hold on now. We don't know that it's not. So don't insult people by just kind of, jumping into just kind of skirting it away and just hiding it away. There's no hiding this. Like, this needs to be addressed, no matter what's happening.
If you really kind of like look at the history of like serial killers, in cities like Houston is number 2 for serial killers, because we have a scarce area to discard a body, which may never be found. We have wildlife that will take care of the evidence, most of it, especially wild hogs.
Yeah.
We
got, then out where I grew up in Baytown, Chambers County.
Yeah.
We got those swampy marshes out there, and we've still got gators, and we've got, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
that's the Debbie and Sandy case. I mean, they put their bodies out there for a reason. This is, if you're a serial killer, if you're a killer in general, and you need to hide a body, Houston is an optimal place to do that.
Oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely. And it's just too coincidental how all this is happening, unless it is a magnet. Unless that location is just a magnet for murder, a magnet for people starting bodies. My thing is, it's like, if you want to discard bodies in Buffalo Bayou and in the bayous, then that means you want to be found. You want to make a statement.
Very brazen. Yeah, it's very blatant.
Yeah.
Like, it's, here you go.
Yeah.
And if they're finding them like this, like, they're not hard to find. And that's how audacious. I mean, like, let me just, they didn't even go to any effort. I mean, even, we can chart, killings in Houston, surrounding areas. I mean, the Texas killing fields, Calder Road, we talked about it.
Right.
They just put those bodies out there, and then they were stumbled upon later. That was in the 1980s. Debbie and Sandy in Baytown, that was in the 80s. The case that I'll be on Hulu about the Mary Stiles case, she was left out in the elements because Houston, does the job of hiding the bodies for you because of our elements, because of our humidity, because of our heat, because of the animals and insects and everything. And it's just, and then we could be a dangerous area,
No, definitely. Like when I drove for Uber, like part-time, and I would work at night, I think I saw like the most like darkest of places in Houston. Houston is, look, I love Houston. Houston's my hometown. I just don't, it's dangerous. Okay. Houston is dangerous. You know what? If somebody is doing some road rage, just let them go. Don't even bother.
Yes. Oh,
don't bother. Just disengage, because you may get a bullet in the head. I mean, I've been shot at twice, like doing Uber. Yeah. I've been shot at twice. And the first time I was shot at, it was on Memorial Day weekend. It was in Midtown. And all I remember was this chick, and she was drunk, and she was like, leaning out of the Jeep. She was saying like, "You better stay there, bitch, because I'll put a cap in your ass," because there was just like so much traffic, and I'm like, look, man, I'm not gonna like talk shit to someone who just said that, I'm like, okay.
It's
Then,
you gotta
with all of a sudden, man, it was like snap, 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 and I heard a bullet go fly past my car, and then that woman, and I'm like, okay, I drop these people off. I turn off my way bill. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going back over there. So I go to up north Houston, like near the Spring area. I pick up these people. Guess what? I'm taking them to the same damn place.
Oh no.
And I was like, no. And then about 6 months later, there was an incident where I was going to 45 in Rankin. I had a passenger in the car, and then all of a sudden, I just heard like gunshots. My ears were ringing, and I can feel the recoil of the gun, from the car, and I'm like, what the hell? And then, by the grace of God, they didn't shoot up the car, because obviously they weren't pointing in front. They were just, just motion. You know what I'm saying? Like gravity.
Yeah.
And by the grace of God, we didn't get shot and killed, but they did kill a woman before they tried to shoot my car up. Yeah, on the Gulf Freeway.
And
they shot her on the Cedar Road.
And that's, when people just dying for stupid, it's just nonsense. It's just, come on. That's
a portion of them are kids who are doing, who are, creating these.
From the UV, or I'm sorry, I think it was the Houston Texans game or Astros game. They were coming back on 610, and there was some road rage. 16-year-old kid shot and killed for what? It's just stupid. It's, yeah. I mean, I lived over in Lindell Park. I live in Oak Forest now, but I lived in Lindell Park, and over there where the the train is, the light rail.
Yeah.
I saw it looked like maybe a gang fight. I'm not sure. I'm sitting at the light and I see it, and it's this dude surrounded by other dudes, but he takes off his shirt and they're like hitting him with bats. He's not even fazed by it. He goes, takes it out. It's one dude against these like four younger guys, right? Like the dudes are in their 20s. The one guy's in his like maybe 30s. He looks a little older, but he like it was a throw down. And I was like,
damn.
I watched it. It's like, okay, I'm kind of entertained a little bit, but I'm also scared for everybody involved. And then I'm like, okay, light change now. And it's the longest light. And I'm the first car watching this thing. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, I don't want them to see me watching them. And then, nope. So I'm just like, okay, go. Let's just go.
Man, that's totally like that. Like on Montrose, when I used to live on Hyde Park, man, that was like a novella or something.
Sketch. Yeah,
man, something was always going down, and you see these big, beautiful $1 million condos and shit, but it was like Thriller because they all came out at night, And
that was Montrose. Like you could go like one street, $1 million homes, next street, like, oh, there's a bunch of dirty needles, there's prostitutes, there's and then you just kind of go and you're like, this is the like patchwork quilt of like,
yes,
the Bayou City, this is it.
I mean, it was so crazy. I mean, I saw some crazy stuff living on Hyde Park. I had a roommate, and we lived in an older, apartment or whatever, but it was a gated community. But he lived across the street from the sketchy ass apartment, and so the week we moved in, they found a body in the sketchy ass apartment, like in the dumpster and all that. Obviously, it was vengeance because over there, it's like back in the day, if you were a drug dealer, you better get like a dime. If you ever get caught having a quarter bag or something, they're going to ask you, like, where did you get it? Because you didn't get it from me and you didn't get permission to get it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how rough it was over there, And I remember this guy, his name was John. And John turned to Shantae. Yeah. I mean, I would see him, and you know what? I only saw him once as a woman. Okay, just one time, and it was just a silhouette of him. But his name was John. But like on the weekends, his name was Shantae, and he would dress up as a streetwalker, and he would get in these cars with people, and it was just right there on that Esplanade, on Hyde Park, and he had a boyfriend. We called him Debo because he was always high on crack or something. Because he would go and Debo? Because he just got out of prison, and so he was like, blah, 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 like you could never understand what he was saying. And so when I took my dog Cletus out, he was like going in circles and I'm like, what the hell? And he was like, who is this dude? Like, what's going on here? So yeah, and then I remember waking up in the morning, taking Cletus out to get ready, and there's like blood everywhere. There's just like a trail of blood going down the sidewalk, and it's on the side of the pebble wall. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? And I see like flashing lights, and obviously,
just another Tuesday.
And then I see Mr. Ron. So Mr. Ron was this older man. He had full-blown AIDS. He was this really nice guy and all that. And he's just like bloodied, beat to a pulp. And I'm like, dude, Mr. Ron, I'm like, are you okay? He was like, girl, I'll tell you about it later. And I'm like, damn.
Girl, yeah. Maybe it's time to talk about it right now.
So I go and I take him out, and I see this guy, doing the, what's his name? I can't think of his name. The entertainer, the blind guy.
Which one?
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, he's like doing that, like in the back of the back of the cop car, and there's just like blood all in this cop car. Like, I mean, it looked like a horror film, and I was like,
was this the 90s, early 2000s?
This was 2007.
Okay.
I think it was 2006, 2007 when this happened. or maybe 2005. It was around there. But I mean, I was like, what the hell? So this guy was high on PCP, and he bought some drugs from this dealer, and so he felt like he got screwed over, and so he went and jumped over the cast iron fence that had spikes in it, and he
Oh,
lost his footing, and the spike went through his foot, and so he was just hanging there and
oh,
all that, and yeah, and then it ripped through his foot, and then but he was on PCP, so I guess he didn't feel
it's
nothing.
like, oh, it's
Yeah,
fine.
so he went down, I guess he was knocking on doors or whatever because there's like a trail of blood everywhere. So he goes to Mr. Ron's door, thinking that that's the drug dealer's door, but it was the next door. It was like the next door over. And so he opened the door. He's like, "Can I help you?" And he just went in there and beat the shit out of him, not knowing he has full blown AIDS. And then this guy's blood is everywhere. So not only that, he had his blood everywhere, he just made a very bad
And
poise.
that's a 2005 Tuesday in Montrose.
Yes,
These
yes.
people who live there now have no idea. Well,
Oh,
it was
oh, the drive by. There was a drive by. Something told me, like, look, man, like there was strange stuff that happened in Montrose. I would always see like shadows, just like black shadows walking by, or whatever. Well, I came home from work. Something told me, get in the gate, get in the gate, and it was like really loud, like, get in the gate, get in the gate. So I go and I get into the gate, and right when I did that, because I saw a car going the opposite direction, it was a drive-by. They went and shot up the apartments next to me, and then like shot my car and shot some other stuff. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, if I was there, I would have probably gotten shot.
well, I'm glad you weren't there.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't there either. Like, that would suck for
Well, I
me.
mean, so talking about Montrose, and it's funny because right now I'm working on season 3 of my podcast, and we are doing, or I'm doing Dean Coral
Yeah.
and the Candyman. So for people who don't know who that is, and if you're from Houston, shame on you. But Dean Coral is basically the John Wayne Gacy of Houston. I can call him the
Yes.
John Wayne Gacy of Houston. He, with 2 accomplices, possibly more, killed 29 boys and young men between 1970 and 1973. Now, Montrose has a lot to do with this. I've done some digging, and the first few episodes of my podcast just kind of sum up, what happened, how he stopped doing what he was doing first, because the story kind of begins with an end. It ends with his death, but then we go in, we learn about these boys and these young men that he killed. We learn about the kids that worked with him. He recruited 2 teenagers to work with him to do this. We learn a little bit about him and his background, but then there's this part of this with theories that abounded that and continue to grow. Really, the more people look into it, that Dean Coral was a part of a syndicate, so a part of a group of sex traffickers.
Yes.
Were doing this in the 1970s, and that John Wayne Gacy was actually connected to this syndicate as well. So I went on that, and I was like, okay, let me dig into this, and let me see
Right.
what has legs. And it's gone pretty deep, and it's a lot. And
Yeah.
I'm on the side of there's something going on, and it's and Chris, we talked about it, and we talked
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
might be bodies of boys that have not. And I've talked to Dr. Sharon Derrick, who was the forensic anthropologist on the case. She actually identified 11 of the remains that were not identified, because a
Yeah.
lot of these boys were found buried in a boat shed, and buried on a beach, and buried
Right.
out
Yeah.
by Lake Sam Rayburn. So they had this arduous task of figuring out what bodies belong to who, and who these boys are. But
Right.
she solved 11 of them. But she thinks that there are more bodies definitely out on High Island, and that, I feel like we should go out there. Mark
Oh
Scott
yeah.
is one of them. Mark Scott is one of them. And there's another couple victims. There's victims that, there were a lot of missing boys during this time. If you think of the syndicate that was happening, if you're following the same theory I'm following, there's a lot of boys that went missing. There was a documentary that was filmed in 1981. It was aired on ABC called Boys for Sale. These two documentary, they were young dudes that worked for ABC, these two guys in their 20s. They took the equipment, they went out on Montrose, and they met with these boys. And they said, hey, tell me your story. What's going on? And they uncovered that there was a syndicate, there was a sex trafficking ring that was happening in Houston in the 1970s, 1980s.
And I definitely believe that.
Yeah. And you could find this documentary on YouTube. It's there, and it features a young Mark McKinnon, who is a journalist. He's been on The Circus, the political docuseries that came out for a while, I think on HBO. Features a very young him, and it features a young Dr. Tom Philpott, who was a professor at University of Texas. And what is this called again? It's called, if you look up Boys for Sale and you type it into YouTube, type in 1981, the show that it was on, Boys for Sale was a documentary. The show that it was on was called Alternative Views, and it was filmed in Austin. And so if you go in and you start to I just jotted down every name I could, jot down every story that I could, jotted down everything that they found out, because they found out a whole lot of information, but at the time they could only share so much because of legalities. They don't want to get in trouble. So, but come to find out, some of the biggest banks in Houston and Dallas were trying to kill the story. And they were mucking it up bad, getting the story out there. And they did a good job because not a lot of people know about it. And so I've started digging into it. I'm about to actually tonight record episodes 3 and 4, but I've done 1 and 2 that kind of delves into it. So if you want to, those are up and ready to go. If you want to go check those out.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And hey, please, I don't know if I sent you an invite or not, but I created a Facebook group called The Rabbit Hole. So things like this, yes, please be on it. Please, put your podcast on there. Also, to put anything that you have relevant to the story, so everybody can dig deeper in that rabbit hole, because knowledge is power. And that's what I try to tell my kids.
The hive mind, like we all do this together. There's gonna be things I miss, that you're gonna pick up, and that if here's my little thread, you want to go pull on that too, if we all kind of do it together and put together all the information that we all have. When I was in Albuquerque, I went to a Beyond the Crime podcast festival there. It was really great, and I met some really cool people. I sat down and talked with Texas True Crime podcaster, another chick that had one. I think it's called "This Is Fucked Up" was her podcast. But she's done some digging, and so I'm like, you can tell she stays up late, drinks her coffee, Jolt Cola, whatever she has, and she's just putting it all together. I think all of us, if we all got together, we'd solve it all.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
The True Crime Collective. I think we could do it.
Oh yeah, man. Those most definitely. I have friends. I think one of my friends, Cheryl Pelkington, she's been wanting to talk to you so bad, and
is she the one with information about Debbie and Sandy, or is she just general?
Oh, you're talking about my aunt, right?
Oh, I need to talk to your aunt about.
Yes. We definitely need to. I need to go ahead and schedule that. You know what?
I'm looking for something, and so if anyone can help me with this, I'm looking for, and I messaged you about it as well, so I'll just kind of blast it out here. I'm looking for the TV show Current Affair. Okay, it was a TV show that ran in the 80s, 90s. If anyone's good at archives and looking this stuff up, I'm looking for a 1986, 87, I believe 87, could be 88. It's an episode called Hunt and Chase, and it is the Debbie Merritt, Sandy Terrell case is featured on this show. I had it on video. I had it on a VHS tape. But you remember Ginger, my dog Ginger? Yeah. She ate it. She ate it, and so it's gone forever. So my copy's gone. I know somebody's got to know somebody that knows somebody that has. I'm hoping. I looked up the actresses that were. One of the actresses that was in it was David Maxwell, the Texas Rangers. It's his ex-wife. She was one. I think she was Debbie. And then there was another woman who was a little, an actress back in her days. She played Sandy in the dramatization. So I was like, maybe I'll reach out to them, see if they have a copy. But I'm looking for that. So if you guys out there know how to find some archive stuff and know where this is, 1987, 1988, a current affair, Hunt and Chase is the episode.
No, most definitely, because that is like really good article information, even though they kind of kind of distorted the truth a little bit about what was going on,
the extent of the Hunt and Chase. And and I think these games happen. I think that, it was a little, the episode was definitely manipulated, and there was definitely some false information put out there.
Right.
What it does have is a lot of just like archival footage of the case from back then. And I remember it because I watched it because my dad was on it, of course. So I watched it a lot. Right. And I took it for show and tell. And my freshman year for debate class, I took it as show and tell, which is, I'm sure my teacher was like, okay, weirdo. Here's my dad, and this is murder.
It all started.
That all started here, yeah. But I watched it a whole lot. So they actually have in the show, they have the garments that they wore when they found them, the ones what they were wearing, and their suitcase and things like that. So stuff that Baytown PD, I know you got stuff, in Chambers County, I know you got stuff that they won't let me near. So
yeah, but you know what?
There you go.
I don't know. I was
but
pretty
that would be great to find.
Yeah,
we've got some things in the works. I've got a producer, we're talking about a show, putting something together about it. We've got a production company interested in a sizzle reel and all that kind of good stuff. But all the footage that we can get is what we're looking for, archive stuff.
Right. Yeah, and it's I don't know, it's just weird, how evidence can be overlooked. You know what I'm saying? If there wasn't anyone important involved,
right?
In the disappearance,
right?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I think we're what we know now, right? So we've read a lot. True crime has come a long way from where it was back then, and I think that for me, when I did the Debbie and Sandy case, and I'm still working on it because I'm working on a book to get it all really compiled together. But I just want it to be right, so I haven't put it out there, and I've got people interested in publishing it. I just want to make sure that it's right. I don't want to mess up anyone's life if I'm wrong. I mean, I see it as a very heavy responsibility, so I'm just not going to be willy-nilly about it. Podcast, that's a different animal. I can say whatever I want. I've got theories, I've got things, but if you write it down in a book, and I want to make sure, everything's checked. So, but looking at the whole picture, right? Looking at the environment, looking at what was going on around it, looking at, they're so just focused on here's the crime, but all the context of it, it's like they forgot. And, the devil truly is in the details. So this is kind of what I'm doing with Dean Quarles. I'm like, okay, the boys went to this evangelistic temple. I want to find out who worked there, who knew everything that was going on at that time, on that date that they disappeared, what was near there, what was going on near there. Yeah, come to find out that the bowling alley that two of the other victims disappeared from was right down the street, half a mile away. You know what I mean? So it's and realizing with the Dean Quarles case in particular, we can even say that somewhat with the Debbie and Sandy case, is that we're going on stories that aren't necessarily fact, right?
Right.
Like with Dean Quarles, the stories that we know about everything were told to them by Elmer Wayne Henley Jr. and David Brooks, the two teenage accomplices.
Right.
Why are we claiming this as fact? And
how? Correct.
How And so with the Debbie and Sandy case, we've got stories. Again, we've got stories. We've got people talking about this hunt and chase thing. People, all it is stories. So if we can't claim that as fact, then the theories the theories have to be there. Like you have to have these things called conspiracy theories, because there's no other way that you can go about looking at this. None of it's, all of it's theory at this point. So if all of it's theory, then you have to compile everything into the most probable, right? Like this is the most probable thing. And so, conspiracy theorists get a lot of poo-poo, right? But it's honestly the only way to go about it when there's nobody that looked into it. There's nobody that documented what needed to be documented. There's nobody, so anyway, that's my little spill on that whole thing.
And, like I said, like it was the first and last time that I seen Tammy, when I went over there, because, we agreed to record a session, you know what I'm saying? Because I really wanted to, help you work on the documentary. So, just compiling stuff, right?
Right.
Well, when I was over there, and I didn't have my camera and stuff set up, but I think it was the attorney, I think it was the DA contacted her.
Okay.
When I was there, and so did, I want to say maybe the sheriff.
Cheryl Leak, the Chambers County DA?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the sheriff was like messaging her, and like if you showed me, you know what I'm saying, just saying like really horrible things, like
her and bullying her is what they were doing.
Yeah, totally harassing her. Basically, he was saying to her like, you want me to tell you what your mom looked like, when we found her, just really disgusting things, and then the attorney, the district attorney called, and I heard her talk to her. It's like, just drop it. You're just making, this is just all up in your head. You're making it bigger than it is. Just drop it. And then that's all I heard of that conversation.
Whose mom was murdered. Hey, just move on. Just let it go. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, when I hear people like talking about horrific, like the Holocaust or slavery or something, like, well, just get over it. Like, this is like huge. Her mother was killed. I would never let that go for the rest of my life.
But my thing is, it's like, why would you, as a DA, call a victim's family member? That's not business related, not case related, because obviously, calling that person to harass is, totally different thing. The one who's doing most of the harassment, it just seems like I'm so sorry about that, was basically, the sheriff, through like the.
He wasn't even, sheriff of the department whenever the women went missing or when they were found. Right, he was working for, I think might have been. I heard that he was working for partly. I had to do my digging into him, and my dad, of course, has a big old file on Brian Hawthorne. But, it's, to me, like, why would you even talk to someone like that, like a victim or their family members or what? Like, how? There has to be an element of compassion in your job when you're dealing. I mean, you work for the people. Not for, you work for the people. And I'm sorry, you're only focused on the ones who donate money to you or the ones who, who vote for you. Like, everybody, when you're in law enforcement, you take care of everybody. And the same thing with Houston, whether these bodies in the bayou or homeless, I don't care who they are. If they're gang members, you have to honor, respect, take care of. It's like when you're a doctor, you have to operate on everybody the same. And you have to protect everyone the same. And that, I just think that's awful.
And I totally agree on that. But as you know, in reality wise, that's not always the case. And especially when it comes to corruption, just what I've noticed working in the entertainment industry for so many years in the media and working for some politicians in the past. It's all corruption. It's lies.
It's so corrupt. It's so
and there's
corruption. I mean, when we're looking at the Dean Coral case, I mean, there's the Dean Coral thing, links to J. Edgar Hoover. I mean, like we're looking at, and I'm going to give you one little nugget and just one little name, and that's all I'm going to do, and you can go listen to the rest. But there's a guy named Billy Byers Jr. Okay, now Billy Byers Jr. was connected to another guy named Guy Straight. They were out in California. They were child pornographers. They were sex traffickers of boys. This was boy pornographers. Like, this is what they did. They were indicted for it. Guy Straight was convicted. Billy Byers Jr. wasn't. And this is why. His dad, Billy Byers Sr., is a big Texas oil man. I mean, big Texas oil man. Big oil money. Connected to Clint Murchison Sr., connected to Sid Richardson. We're talking about the big rich in Texas. You can't touch these guys. These guys were Billy Byers Sr., Clint Murchison. All these guys were very close friends with J. Edgar Hoover. Clint Murchison had a hotel. J. Edgar Hoover used to come stay at this hotel. Billy Byers Jr. used to supply young boys for him.
You know what? I think I heard about that, and this is the reason why I heard about it is because I have this book that a friend of mine gave me, Shannon Dean gave me for my birthday, and it's called The Apocalypse 2. Have you ever read?
No. Mine's based on The Secret Life of J. Edgar Hoover by Sumner, but Anthony Summers.
I mean, there's like these crazy ass essays of people who have like committed these pedophilia sex crimes. Now, like when I had it when I was younger, I read it, but I just read through it, and I was like, damn, these like some messed up stuff. But now, since I'm older and I got the book out of storage, and I'm like, man, most of these are like pedophile cases.
They're like,
right, and I think I heard, and I heard one of those names like in those stories, in those essays. So yeah, and I was thinking about doing a podcast, basically doing an audio podcast, about what I can find, on those stories and all that, because I
pull it out,
yeah,
because I can guarantee you that there are books that corroborate everything that you read there, that they were saying it, and it's probably an old book, right? They've been saying this.
Yeah, I think this book is about, like, I want to say 15 years old. It's probably older than that. Right. It was probably in the 80s or 90s. Well, I know it was after John Benet Ramsey. I know that. So because it had the case,
Well, there's a connection there with the John Benet Ramsey. Yeah. I'll give you one more little nugget, and then you have to go listen to my podcast. But there's another sex trafficker named Francis Sheldon, who had an island called North Fox Island, and this is back in the 1970s.
Yes.
Yeah, and he bought this island. He's a wealthy dude, trust fund baby. He built this island, and he installed an airstrip, right, for his private planes to come and fly in. Very Epsteinian. The builder of that landing strip was John Benet Ramsey's grandfather.
What?
Yes. And not only that, they used tax dollars to get it done too. So, way to go.
Yeah, see, and like, look, even like the stuff that I kind of found out, with Bay Oaks Harbor, the history, like from the 1800s and everything, basically what it boils down to, what energy was saying through, the device, basically when you put it together, is that, there was child trafficking going on within the Balin orphanage. Not only that, they were hanging children, they were killing children, they were. I
want to know more about that. We need to talk about that because I want to know more about that.
Yeah, and it all pointed to the I can't even the Mason. Yes, the Freemason building. So, and that used to be a schoolhouse, and for the orphanages, too. So, there's a lot of connections,
There's a lot. And I mean, and that's another thing where a collective group of people looking into it, because I know I'm kind of focused on this little area, but I know that there's another area that's just like it. I mean, I'm kind of building a profile for what it looks like. And here's the thing: Epstein is a direct, like, that profile, right?
Mm-hmm.
He fits the profile, right? And it's not like
Right.
this, what he did has been going on for a very long time, and it's
No,
formulated.
you're right.
It is
See,
so,
and look,
the
and
whole
I mean,
private islands, private planes, wealthy people, using nonprofits to disguise it. That is a huge one. There's an interconnected, there's pamphlets, there's leaflets. The pedophile groups were teaching the other pedophiles how to infiltrate, nonprofits and churches and church groups. They were Boy Scouts of America. These guys were taught how to infiltrate Boy Scouts of America. It started off as, of course, a noble thing. Like, let's take these boys camping. Let's learn the ropes. It was completely infiltrated. And then now you have the perversion files that documents all of the stuff that was going on.
Right. And I mean, if you really look at it too, it's just like child trafficking and all this shit has been going on for centuries. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when I looked
it's been there with the world's oldest profession, if you will. Like, they've been doing it with kids, like they were doing it with women, and
Native Americans. They were the most affected. Yeah, here in the United States, having these Christian boarding schools, which I'm actually working on a story right now. About that, like a documentary. Yeah. I mean, it's been around, and the thing is okay. So I had a friend, and he passed away, and I remember he was telling me about his family being in some type of dark thing. They were Ukrainian, and he told me that, or I found out later, that they were Satanists, that they practiced some ritualistic stuff. He had attachments to him, but there were things that I guess his family did that was far more worse, and I think that would probably be like human sacrificing and so forth. But one thing that got me is that he would talk about the bond, and when he would talk about the bond, I would hear through ICE. The ICT is like the demonic name Baal, and so it seems like there's this cult or whatever that is associated with Baal, and supposedly they do these type of sacrifices. They'll sacrifice something, because blood.
Did you read Maury Terry stuff? The journalist Maury Terry?
No. But hold on one second, because this is the weird thing. This woman who claims to be Epstein's niece.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so she claims to be that she's Jeffrey Epstein's niece, and that the whole family, they're Jewish, but they live a double life, and they're Satanists, and they're in the I guess the cult of Baal, and then she said it's the bond, and my friend was saying the bond, and when he would say it, his voice would change, and I just that was just a flag, there's no indication saying that they're,
yeah, no, it's like you kind of check mark it, and it starts to register more. Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying that she's not. I mean, it could be a pure coincidence,
Right.
But I just thought it was odd that she said those things. And here I interviewed someone 4 years ago who kind of said something similar, And so, yeah, that just kind of put a red flag. Was there that possibility that Jeffrey Epstein's family is tied to some type of cultural realistic,
there's a lot of theories. There's a lot of theories that a lot of high up people were.
I mean, I try not to be a conspiracy theorist. I really try not to.
Far-reaching one, and that's why when going back to Maury Terry, he's the one that links that he says David Berkowitz, the son of Sam, was not the only son of Sam. Which when you watch that documentary or that docuseries, you kind of like, he's onto something. And he was, he was kind of, you had the satanic panic in the 80s. And I do think a big portion of it was BS, but I think a big portion, you can't go hard one way or the other, right? So you can't like, oh, it's all real. Oh, it's all fake. Like, no, there is this gray area in the middle where no, there's, it's that whole adage of the devil, like convincing you, the biggest lie was convincing you that he didn't exist. But no, there's some shit that happened. There's some weird stuff that happened, that there has been some weird stuff that happened. There are some secretive, dark, sinister things going on that were going on, that probably are going on still. And it's people believing in some mumbo jumbo, I think, and they're taking it too far and they're hurting people. And I think, even with the sex trafficking thing, whether it has to do with anything deeply sinister like that, or if it's just sickos being sickos, I'm done with it. I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to just out the crap out of them. And you can call me a conspiracy theorist all you want. I think part of it, it's like we always known that we've got to protect our daughters, and we do, absolutely. But I didn't know that this boy thing was so bad, and how we've let down our boys. And so it's just, I'm kind of at a point where I'm just like, if I find it out, and I'll research it first, and I'll make sure it has legs, or I'm going to put out, hey, these are some coincidences. Check them out and check it, because it's at the end of the day, it's worth it. It's worth, if we find out something, then it's worth it.
Well, like going back to Satanic Panic real quick, my personal experience when I was younger, when we lived in Texas City, is my cousin and I, we cycled 25 miles a day, and so we decided to go down, I guess like I forgot what it was called, not the dam, but I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, the skyline. So we decided to go and cycle over by the skyline. And then there's like Dead Man's Curve, which is like this really sharp curve. And at that time, there was like forestry, like on the side. Well, he had to go to the restroom. And so we stopped. And
was this the 80s, by the way? Hold on.
Yeah. This was the 80s.
Yeah, because we're talking 80s, right? Okay.
Yeah. We're talking 80s. And he was like, hey, Chrissy, come in here. Look at this. I go in, and like they tore down some trees, and like there was so much like thickets, right? So it looks like a wall, like you came into a room, and there was like a makeshift like table out of twigs, and there was a bowl, and this bowl had like blood in it. Like it just stunk, and everything like that. Yeah. And so like he pissed. We just got on our bikes. We left. We went and told our uncle, because he was a cop at the time, and we told him about it and all that. But here in Baytown, I do believe that satanic rituals still go on, especially over here down the road where I'm from, like off of Ferry Road.
Were definitely back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it, like not even 5-6 years ago, we found where they were doing a satanic ritual underneath one of the ports, where I guess where they used to have like summer school or whatever, or summer camp over at the Methodist church and all that. So they have a picnic area that's roofed. And yeah, we went there one time, and it was like a big huge circle, with candles, and yeah, it's pretty insane.
And some of it's so like hokey cheesy. It's, kids went to Hot Topic and got some candles or whatever. But it's when there's harm. They can go do their silly things, whatever. But if you're harming animals, you're going to piss me off. If you're harming people, if you're harming kids, you're going to really, make me really.
See, that's what got me.
You. But, I think in that, here's the thing. And I didn't know this. My friend Sheila told me, because her dad in 85, 86, he went out to like bar, he was probably in his 20s or 30s. But she said that rumors around the bars back then were that there was some sort of satanic thing with Debbie and Sandy. That was the rumor back then. And I mean, so if you look at 85, okay, 85 in Baytown, you got September, you've got Carolyn Hahn, little 11-year-old girl who was killed in her apartment complex. And then in October 31st, Halloween, you have Mary Stiles, and that's what I'm going to be on Hulu. Texas True Crime is the name of the show. Mary Stiles is the episode. You got Mary Stiles killed on Halloween, right? And, we know who killed each of these little girls, and it was different people. I still think that there's some things that weren't uncovered that should have been covered. There's an odd coincidence with the two cases. One, the girls, several coincidences, sorry. So you've got the girls' ages. They're the same exact age. They both lived in apartment complexes. One's in Montbellier, one's in Baytown. The oddest coincidence is that their fathers worked together. Not at and so when I first heard this, I figured, oh, their dads worked together at Exxon. Well, thousands of men and women work at Exxon.
Yeah.
No, they worked for a plumbing company, a plumbing and AC company that had like maybe 8 employees.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's called Young's Plumbing. Okay. So
I know exactly
weird.
who you're talking about.
And so these
we actually used them a couple of times.
Well, so the two dads of these girls, Gary Stiles, Mary's father, Carolyn Hahn's dad, Frank, I think his name is Frank Hahn, they both worked for them at the same time. Daughters are killed with like a little over a month of one another. They're the same age. They live in apartment complexes, and then here you go. Each of their deaths are attributed to completely different people.
Wow.
I kind of want to see the files. Now, my dad was an officer on each of these cases. He was the detective on each of these cases, as well as the Debbie and Sandy case.
Right.
So, I have to talk to him carefully about it. Like, I don't want to, stir up anything, but,
right.
And I don't want to give away what happened with these girls, because you can go watch the show and find that out.
Absolutely.
But all of it's fishy. All of it's fishy. And it's just everything's fishy about it. And that's just, to me, is just one thing. It seemed like it's like with the HBD thing and the Bayou bodies. It's like It was rushed off. Like when a coincidence is too strong, like a very strong coincidence, there's something more there. Whether it's mild, whether it's massive, there's something more there. And I feel like it was just kind of looked over. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know the evidence. I just know the story, and I've passed along the story. I did FOIA on it just to see if I could get anything, but because they were children, of course, those are sealed. And especially with the Mary Stiles one, because of who was convicted of her murder, that's a whole other thing too. So,
well, thank you, Jen, for being on tonight. I greatly appreciate it. And I know
we can talk forever.
I know, right? Because this is like good information. But you know what, Jen? Please put your information and what you're working on, and also too, the Bayou murders and all that on the rabbit hole and so forth. And I'll go ahead and I'll send you a link and an invite link.
Place to share it. I think that's with these other cases, it's more about finding out information and getting information out there. But with this Bayou case, it's possibly saving lives. So if we could do something collectively as a community and kind of fill in the gaps, don't put your life in danger or anything, but, somebody knows something that can pass along something to someone. So.
No, absolutely. I love always having you on. It's always been great for you to come on. I love your stories. You're so thorough. I know you've done your research and your knowledge, and I would love to have you back on again. Hey, is your episode already on? Because I was trying to look for it.
No, so on Hulu it'll drop the 21st. So, and I know they'll be doing
for November, right?
For October. So,
October? Okay.
What's today? Okay. The 19th, 18th?
Yes, it's the 18th. Yes, it's the 18th. So it's going to be on the 21st. Yeah.
2 days. So yeah, it'll drop, right? So it'll be on Hulu.
Nice.
Texas True Crime is the name of the show. I did it with Tom Abrams. So he's, look that up. You'll be able to find that. I think you can find it on Prime as well, and maybe Disney Plus. that'll drop then. I think they're going to do a big push though on Halloween to promote it, because of course when it happened. So
Right. No, absolutely.
yeah. And so I also have season 3 of my podcast, Crude, Texas True Crime Podcast. That's going to be wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, wherever. I'm on episode, I think it's 8 or something. I don't know. I know that I'm about to record part 3 and 4 of my little syndicate trip that I'm going on, so you can follow me along with that. We're working in development with that as well, bringing that to television, as well as the Debbie and Sandy case. And I'm also compiling all of it to put in a book that I'm going to release. So it's tentatively titled The Candyman and the Syndicate. So look out for that.
Right.
That hopefully I'll have that done in a couple months, probably. Yeah.
Nice. And also too, on the Rabbit Hole, I will have Boys for Sale. I will have that documentary on so people can watch it too as well. And please invite your friends and all that to it, because I want people to put in their knowledge. I want this to be, something educational for people. People have any, information, that's credible to, helping people, finding someone, solving, murders.
Helping people, easing pain, telling stories that need to be told, honoring victims and honoring their families. That's just what it's all about.
Absolutely. And there are some documentaries that will be posted, like true crime as well, off of YouTube, so people can have knowledge, who are crime buffs, who love, true crime and, paranormal stuff. Please, join the Rabbit Hole. You won't regret it. We can all talk and get along and, have a coat.
Get lost in it.
Get lost all up in it. So thank you so much. And I'm waiting for the producer to pop in. I don't know where she's at. She's backstage somewhere. There she is. She's a genie.
Genie and a bag.
Hey, what's up, Gwen?
Oh, okay, so sorry. Always grilling. I'm here. Great show, guys. I wasn't planning on popping in. So.
No. It's cool. It's been like really good. Man, Jen's always good, man. I love having her on. She's just so effervescent and she's so creative, and
I love to talk.
I love it.
But you do so well. You're
yes,
awesome.
You're great.
So we enjoy it very much.
Man, and look, Jen, I've known you for close to 27 years. It's been that long.
Oh my God. And we're still only 23. That's weird.
I know, right? And it's just like when I look at you now, it's like, damn, you look more like your mom. Like,
I know, right? Because I look like my dad a lot for like a long time.
Yes.
With the graying and like my white's coming out more,
Yeah. Hey, look, I'm starting to get gray hair. I can't believe it.
Oh, it's happening. I'm just kind of like deciding, like, what do I do with it? Do I just let it grow and go and grow, or do I cover it, keep covering it? And I'm like, I could save a lot of money if I just let it go.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, my mom. I put in blue contacts not that long ago, and I was like, oh my God, I look like my mom so much.
Oh man, how is your mom anyway?
Oh, she's good. She's
good. Is she still practicing, or is she retired already?
She works for DaVita as a social worker for DaVita.
Oh, okay.
She's never going to retire. She doesn't want to retire. But luckily, now she's going on vacations at least. She just went to Turkey, and she's wanting to, it was like Turkey and Greece, and so she had a fun time with that. She really, though, and this is interesting, they were going to go to Israel initially.
Oh, really?
And this was before all the shit went down.
Literally,
like it was last Christmas, like before all the stuff went down. She had this whole thing planned to go to Israel. She was going to go do like a big Jesus tour. It's with the church, and they were going to go like historic stuff. And they decided to do it in Turkey instead, and they followed like the Gospels of Paul, I think, and like went and learned about that. But but now she's like, I eventually want to get out to Israel. I'm like, oh. hold on.
Yeah, just wait.
Let things get settled first, Mom.
Yeah, like we know how shit went down a few times with the
you
ceasefire.
do not run fast. Like you cannot. Like no.
You know, like just wait. Like right now, my wife is on a cruise. She's going to, I think, Cozumel or whatever.
Oh yeah, I know the Cozumel cruise. I've been on that a couple times.
Yeah.
Look, man, okay, I love water. Okay, I'm just like, when I think about being on a ship, okay, with a whole bunch of people, like a whole bunch of people, and you're out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know.
Did you see the documentary about the one that got the poop cruise, where they got the like?
I've heard of that.
I was like, nope.
Dude, that made me have a virus right there. I was like, oh damn, I gotta go to the restroom like that.
I'm about to lose 10 pounds, but I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh, I mean, like, you know what? It's probably nice. I just like that's not my thing. Like, I don't want to go on a cruise unless it's in Alaska. Go on a cruise to Alaska.
I want to go on those.
I would love to do an Alaska one. They're a little more expensive, I know, but I mean, just to see the whales and the things, like just I think it'd be really cool. I'd like that.
No,
and
really
I have these friends, and they, you know, they're a couple. They do. They did one around Iceland.
Oh wow!
Oh
which
wow!
was really cool. And I think they just went on one that was. They'll do the ones like the river tours in Europe, where you know those are supposed to be like super posh and nice and everything. So maybe one day, like retirement, when I'm retired, like they are, like I can go do something like that.
Man. I don't know, man.
That.
Shit, man. When it comes to retirement, man, you gotta have a decent ass job just to retire. You know what I'm saying? Like,
our generation, forget it. We're gonna be working till like,
we're all fucked.
We're all gonna be like, "Hi, welcome to Walmart. We're Gen X. Come in."
What's your with Gen X?
There's only two ways to go. Neither, you know, you just work hard and become your own employer, or you're gonna have to go somewhere where you know you can get work. I mean, it's sad. You know, I remember when it was just easy to get jobs. You know, now it's like it's hard to do that.
A job with benefits and a pension, and then when you retire, I mean that is, you know, the best place is Harris County. My friend has worked for Harris County Community Supervision, and she's close to retirement now, and her retirement's badass. Like, but you know, while you're working there, you know, you're not paid a whole lot, like, you know, but the best part of it was the retirement. But you don't see that anymore. You just don't see that the same way.
No. No. I mean, because we're just screwed. We're screwed because I mean,
it's going to be. Yep.
Our checks and balances for our government is just not okay. You know, I mean, there's a repeat.
We're going to pay our entire lifetime. I mean, I'm, you know, we're both pushing 50, right? Like, we've never had it.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, we can't just make it worse. I mean, look, supposedly the tariffs that are being brought in, it's good for it's good for, you know, it's good for America. It's good for this. No, it's good for the rich who are getting a piece of that. It's not good for us. It hurts us. You know, I lost one of my freelance jobs because most of our products come from China. So I'm expendable because I'm freelance. So, you know, they let me go.
You're more than they want to spend is what, like, when they can get it cheap. Yeah.
And then I have a friend who owns like a really well-respected processing company who makes like mics and all that, condenser mics and shit, you know, for studios and everything. And I mean, like, well-known artists used her stuff, and she was forced to sell because she had to everything 100% comes from China, like all her components, you know, for the processors, you know, for the mics and everything. And so in order for her employees to keep their jobs, she was forced to sell and retire early. You know,
and when you hear forced retirement, you're like, I mean, we're living in a day and age like someone's wanting to work and you're forcing them to retire. Like, you know,
I had to retire because of an injury. And
yeah.
I will tell you, I went from working in the hospital, then I was a paramedic for years. I got injured, and then I had to retire. And now with certain things, I can't go work a 9-to-5 job because my body just won't let me. But it sucks having to retire either way.
And having an injury or an illness or anything, you know, you know, when you hit our age, your joints are like, I'm not doing that anymore. You know, I work at a wine bar at nights, and just opening a wine bottle at this point, I'm like, my elbow is just my whole arm's gonna fall off it eventually. But like you get your joints are like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. You could want to do it all you want, but I'm not doing that. And it's just like, man, and the limitations of your body is just a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, look,
it's not for the weak. I'm telling you.
I think I would have been. I think I would have been okay. And, you know, a little bit more years on me if I didn't take that damn Moderna shot. That's what fucked me up, was the Moderna shot.
You know what? I have to do think like the correlation of after I took Moderna too. And I haven't had any sort of, I had to take it because of travel. Like you had to, like that, like we were going, we had a thing where I think we were going to Cabo, and I had to get it before we could go. Like you couldn't take your flight. And I'm like, I don't really want to do this, but okay, whatever. And I mean, if I start to kind of joint my, like kind of combine like my joint pain in with that, there probably is definitely, you know, a correlation there.
Well, I have a question. Have you guys ever heard, I can't remember which shot I had, but ever since then I have a lot of eye issues. One day I can see, now I wear glasses, but I mostly have to have them for reading, or like on the screen, you know, that kind. Have you ever heard of anybody have an eye issue? Yeah.
Have a what issue?
Eye issues, because one day I can see pretty decent for me, then the next day I can barely. I mean, it's weird. It just kind of, it's day to day. And my eye doctor says, oh, everything's fine. And I'm like, well, there's one thing that I know. I know people that's had issues, but I don't know about eye issues. And I'm just,
I don't know if it's from the Moderna or not.
Everything's connected. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if it's from the Moderna shot or not, but the doctor, when I went to the eye doctor, he was concerned because my left eye got worse. And so he was like, okay, well, because they put me on, was it prednisone or whatever, prednisone, and it will mess up your eyesight for a little bit, but supposedly when you get off of it, your eyesight goes back to normal or whatever. And so my eyesight never really did go back to normal, my left eye.
It's hard when you hit our age bracket because stuff does start to fall apart. But you wonder though, has it been made worse? Like, has it escalated because of, I mean, we're the generation of all the vaccines when we were kids. Yep. We are the generation of antibiotics being prescribed like it was candy. I mean, it tastes like candy. We were drinking that pink stuff. I'd like sneak in there and get a little more.
Give me a shot.
Like we are the over medicated generation of like 70s, 80s kids that we were poked and prodded and prescribed stuff. I mean, I was prescribed Vicodin for tonsillitis. You know what I mean? Like they were over prescribing everything. And
to get Vicodin now is like pulling the teeth out, man.
Dude, your arm can fall off or get it. And they don't. Take some ibuprofen. It'd be okay.
Oh yeah, no, I had
here's some Tylenol.
Tylenol 3, and I'm like, when I hear my other friend, my sorority sister, she's like, "You didn't get morphine?" I'm like, "You didn't get morphine?" No, I don't have that kind of insurance, obviously. But like no, they say like, "Here you go, take your Advil. You can alternate Advil and Tylenol," and I'm like, that sounds like a lot of pills to take. And there are
people like me who are sensitive to a lot of medications, which I blame on having them all those years. I can't even take Benadryl, which is, who can't take Benadryl? I can't.
I can only take Tylenol. I can't even take Advil.
I can't take Tylenol.
Benadryl is sleepy time. Like I need to take it at like 8 p.m. to get up at a decent hour because
it gives me leg cramps so bad that we thought I had an aneurysm in my leg. We did.
Wow.
And we couldn't figure out why because
now I've had restless leg. I want to say in the past couple years, and I've never had it before. I mean, like when you're a little kid, I had like shin splints and growing pains in my legs, which I always thought was crap because I'm so short. I'm like, why do I have all those growing pains then? But more and more restless leg syndrome, like every year it seems to get worse. And if I take I think a melatonin will give me restless leg. I think any sort of PM medicine will give me restless leg. Benadryl will give me restless leg.
Yeah. See, well, you guys, I mean, I know we love talking, but I'm going to at least cut play my commercials and get us off of here. And you guys can talk.
I'm going to go. I'm getting my master's right now. So I've got a test I need to get ready for. So,
all right.
Hey, congratulations.
Say good night, you guys.
So, let me know whenever you want to do this again. It's fun.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Yes,
all right,
absolutely.
Good night, everybody.